Hey guys, welcome to the video. Gonna talk a little bit about the Rings of Power Season 2. As you can see, we did a little bit of rebranding, so let me know what you think in the comments, and hope you enjoy the video. Anyway, we're talking about the Rings of Power Season 2, and the teaser trailer for Season 2 has been out for about 2 weeks now. And after an initial wave of dislikes and comments about Sauron's wig, it feels like the internet has already moved on. Part of the reason I'm so late to the game on this video is that I'm having a hard time figuring out what to even say about this teaser. Unlike 2 years ago when I was doing my very first YouTube videos and when Amazon was promoting the first season, this time the teaser gives us very little information at all. We see a few hints about Sauron, the Balrog, and the Seven and the Nine Rings, but those are things we already knew would be coming. It seems clear that Amazon is playing their hand close to their chest to give the internet as little as possible to make fun of, which is a smart move for them after a disastrous first season. Much of what the teaser shows we can really only make guesses at. Many have already commented about this Venom thing. I have no idea what to make of this. It seems entirely foreign to anything from Tolkien's writings. These appear to be some kind of wraith, though how there can be wraiths or barrow wights at this point in the timeline is anyone's guess. This creature, I would say, is most likely the Watcher in the Water, but that's the only thing I feel any confidence guessing at. Something that particularly bothers me about this trailer is that Pharazôn appears to be riding on the back of an eagle. This is really problematic, and I'm surprised no one working on the series was bothered by this. The eagles are the servants of Manwë, Lord of the Valar, and Pharazôn, as well as most of Númenor, hate both the eagles and the Valar whom they serve. You might sooner see Gandalf ride on a fell beast. I'd like to give them the benefit of the doubt and see if the show provides circumstances that can adequately explain why Pharazôn would ride on an eagle, but after how Season 1 turned out, I'm not very optimistic. The main criticism of the teaser has been Sauron and his wig. This running joke assumes that Sauron will change his appearance from Halbrand to a blonde-haired, pointy-eared elf, and that none of the elves will recognize him. Initially, I could not accept that this is what the teaser was presenting. Such a disguise would be so infantile that surely this is not what the story would be. After all, Galadriel says that he has been here among us all along. That line actually made me quite hopeful because I thought it meant that this elf version of Sauron was Annatar, and that Annatar had been interacting with Celebrimbor off-screen all throughout Season 1. This would require retconning Season 1, but that would actually be a good thing. Unfortunately, that doesn't seem to be the case, as in the behind-the-scenes video that IGN put out, Celebrimbor seems to tell Galadriel that he has been visited by Annatar, Sauron's alter ego.
I've had an unexpected visitor.
Not only is it ridiculous that Sauron could disguise himself in this way, but Sauron has no need of Celebrimbor at this point. The 3 elven rings have already been forged. Sauron's gonna forge the 7, the 9, and the 1 all by himself. He certainly doesn't need Celebrimbor's help at this point. Okay, I'm inserting a new paragraph of script here because I just saw the news that Tom Bombadil is going to be in Season 2. Now, I'm a big fan of this as an idea. I think his outfit in this picture, at least, looks exactly right, though he looks more like Bjorn in these pictures. He's apparently going to be singing songs and talking in rhymes too, so all of that's great. The problem is that just like they did with so many things in Season 1, JD and Patrick are changing significant aspects of this character to make him fit into the story they want to tell, instead of being faithful to their source material. Vanity Fair says, and I couldn't have phrased it more appropriately, Payne and McKay took the liberty of giving Bombadil a second home on the outskirts of Rhûn. As the article states, Tom will apparently be deeply concerned for the land of Rhûn because it used to be Edenic, green, and beautiful, but now is a dead wasteland. This is a big change in a couple of ways. Now, if you've read The Lord of the Rings, you know that Tom Bombadil lives in between the Old Forest and the Barrow Downs and considers these lands his own. He has been in those lands since the beginning of Middle-earth, for thousands and thousands of years before men or elves walked the earth. He is the master of all within his realm and saves the four hobbits from certain death twice just by singing. But even though Bombadil is powerful enough on his own to pose a huge threat to Sauron, Bombadil plays no part in the war against Sauron because he doesn't care about anything outside his domain. He has stayed in his land since the beginning of time, and he will never ever leave it. Now, giving Tom Bombadil a second home just so that he can meet Gandalf and Nori not only changes a huge part of his character, but also breaks the entire story of The Lord of the Rings. If Tom cares about lands outside his own, like Rhûn, and will leave his own domain to save them, why doesn't he care about Mordor or any other place in Middle-earth that has been corrupted by evil? If he cares about Rhûn, then when we get to The Lord of the Rings, he should be storming the Black Gates in order to heal the land of Mordor. As entertaining as that is to think about, it wouldn't make for a great story. Tom Bombadil only makes sense in The Lord of the Rings if he stays within his realm. Now, although I think this is a pretty big change to Tom Bombadil, JD and Patrick say that they are only changing him by 5 or 10%.
That is a lie.
Even if I agreed that this was a small change, even small changes can break a story as intricately crafted as The Lord of the Rings. Now, I do want to be clear here that I'm not a Tolkien purist who thinks that anything different from what Tolkien wrote is bad. You have to make adaptive changes in order to make a story work, like condensing the timeline of the events into the Second Age, and creating original characters to flesh out the story. I think putting Tom Bombadil in Season 2 is a great idea, and of course I'm interested to see how they adapt him. I just wish they were doing it in a way that was more faithful to the books, or faithful as much as possible, instead of changing Tom to fit him into a place where he simply doesn't fit. Rather than bending Tom Bombadil to fit their story, they should have bent their story to fit Tom Bombadil. Unfortunately, I can't be very optimistic about the other big Lord of the Rings announcement. The Hunt for Gollum, produced by Peter Jackson and Fran Walsh and directed by Andy Serkis, will be coming to theaters in 2026. Presumably, this story will cover the period of time in the Fellowship of the Ring between Bilbo's party and Gandalf's return to the Shire. After Bilbo's party, Gandalf leaves the Shire to find information about Bilbo's ring and confirm his suspicion that it is the One Ring. During this time, almost 20 years, he and Aragorn hunt for Gollum and find him in the Dead Marshes, returning from Mordor. Gandalf attempted to gain whatever information he could about how Gollum acquired the ring, and Aragorn took him to the Elves of Mirkwood for safekeeping. Eventually, Gollum escaped with the help of a party of orcs. And that's pretty much the whole story. It only takes up a few paragraphs of the Fellowship of the Ring, and it's not even a full plot with a conflict and resolution or anything. To make even just one film about this would require making up a lot of additional story where there isn't anything left to be told, and that is what worries me. I'd much rather see a movie about a young Aragorn. There's plenty of room to fill in the blanks without contradicting anything, and seeing the rivalry between a young Aragorn and young Denethor would be very satisfying. I'm disappointed this isn't the direction they're going with for these films. I'm more hopeful for The War of the Rohirrim coming out this December because it at least is its own self-contained story, and there's plenty of room for embellishment without contradicting things, but we'll just have to see.
Even the wisest cannot tell.
Anyway, that's all for today. I'm sure there'll be plenty more about the Rings of Power to discuss soon. In the meantime, be sure to watch my previous videos about the Rings of Power if you haven't yet. Thanks so much for watching. It really does mean a lot.